Let's welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good to see you, everybody. I was told to step behind this black cross, so I'll put my notes there. My name is Ansgar, and I have a translator with me. You want to introduce yourself?
大家好，我们今天是霍伯学院，然后这位是安建华先生，然后我是今天的现场翻译 Chris， 但是我的英文水平呢没有那么好，可能翻译会有错误，请大家包涵，谢谢。
I have 20 minutes for you, so it's a pretty short time, and I'm breaking down the 20 minutes into 20 chapters. First chapter is introduction about me.
今天安建华先生会用20分钟时间做这个演讲，然后他会先介绍他自己。
I am born 1972, which means I'm pretty old already, 46. I have spent the nearly last 20 years in Shanghai, and in the last 5 years I'm pretty globally in my life, which means I'm spending time distributed between Europe, China, and United States, which is the first time. So you could say my life became more and more global during my years and life so far.
安建华先生今年是1972年出生，今年快40岁，然后他在5年之前来到上海，然后现在他的生活是在上海、欧洲和美国之间做就是一个全球性的这么一个连接吧。
I want to use the second minute to talk about education.
我想用1点时间来说一下关于那个教育的事情。
Education is a big buzzword nowadays. A lot of people are entering the market of education.
教育是一个长期的一个东西，是一个很关键的一个东西，对我们人类来说是一个非常重要的东西。
But what most people forget is the way how we learn when they look at education.
但是大部分的人已经忘记了一个教育的初衷。
So time is running fast. I'm already in my third minute. Third minute that is dedicated to the topic of learning. I try a new concept of lecture today. And I'm talking about me for the rest of the time. And behind me you see similar to media that is flowing onto us nowadays everywhere, a pretty fast slideshow which is independent of what I'm saying. So I'm talking about me, and I'm giving you some media coverage to keep you alert behind me. It's a new concept I'm trying out today for the first time.
我会说一下关于我的事情，然后在大屏幕上会说一下关于就是我的想法，我的一些对教育的一些就是对教育的一些想法吧。
And I'm already in my 4th minute, which is about addiction. Addiction is also part of the first third of my lecture, talking about smartphone addiction.
现在我要说一下关于
Smartphone addiction is just one kind of addiction. There are many kinds of addictions.
那个智能手机现在有许多的一些用途，许多的一些用途用到这个东西，然后我会说一下这个东西。
Some people get addicted to sports, others to food. I'm addicted to sleeping long, for example. So we are training ourselves and developing certain habits. And come more close if you don't hear me. No problem. And habits are all fine as long as we can control them, right? As long as we are in power of our time and our habits. No problem, no translation for
No translation. I'm
the
sorry.
4th minute.
I'm sorry.
We are already in neurology area now. We are thinking about what's happening in our brain when we use the smartphone, what's happening in our brain when we eat food and the food gets released in our body.
当我们吃东西的时候，这些用那个 smartphone 已经全部都进入到我们的脑子里，我就会想一下关于是什么东西了。
So there is a big science, neurology, which knows all the things that are happening. The science is actually evolving very quickly recently, so we know very much. For example, obese people, we all look at them, but they really are not to blame for their obesity. They get tricked by their brain. Their brain tells them they should keep on eating. And it's similar with smartphone addiction.
就是当我们吃东西的时候，我们的脑子里已经有一块东西去想我们要吃什么，我们要弄什么，然后这个东西是和那个智能手机是差不多的一个东西。
So if we want to heal an addiction, which will be the second part following soon, we have to understand our behavior first. Which part of our behavior is okay and when does it become an addiction? This is something we can do by observing ourselves more carefully.
就是当我们去想一些东西的时候，我们需要去注意我们的一些行为，这些行为会在我们的行动的一个字典里面去让我们知道我们应该去做什么。
Because I didn't come here to a future high-tech conference to tell everybody to put their smartphone away.
我在这儿，我不是想让所有的人去把我们的手机放在一边去，不去管它。
I grew up with the computer. I think one of the slides also shows the definition for smartphone, which is actually a computer. So I grew up with the computer and all the other technologies, and I made every step with me in my life. And for every new technology that came up, I first became addicted.
当一些新的科技出来的时候，比如说电脑，比如说智能手机，我会跟着这些东西去让他们融入到我的生活里面去。
Because I'm a person which is easy to be addicted based on my genetics.
Go ahead. I can follow the whole thing. Go ahead.
My genetics, I tested my DNA 10 years ago. My genetics say I'm a person which is very easy to get addicted. But my education keeps me away from getting addicted. So there's two powers fighting in myself. My body and my genetic disposition to get addicted very easily to anything. If I do something, I do it too much. Or there is something that holds me back, which is education and all the patterns I learned during my childhood and adolescence.
就是在我的基因里面，我是一个非常容易接受一些新鲜事物的人。所以，但是那些教育的东西呢，我需要去用我自己的东西去把它融入到中间，然后去做一些关于教育的事情。
So, before I come to the next step, we are in our minute 8 now, talking about healing. I want to tell you how I managed to heal my smartphone addiction.
在我们去下一步之前呢，我会告诉你们我怎么去管理我的那个就智能手机的一些东西。
First of all, I grew up with the mobile phone. So I was the first student at my university who had a mobile phone for the first couple of years. So I enjoyed the idea of being mobile and being connected to business partners very early in my life, since 1993 already.
1993年的1993年的时候，当那个就是最早的那些手机出来的时候，我就已经对它非常感兴趣了。
But I got my first smartphone just 2 years ago.
但是我拿到我的那个智能电话是在2年之前。
And I got very quickly addicted because it was an iPhone 7 Plus, my first smartphone ever, and I loved it from the first moment on.
我的第一台手机是 iPhone 7，智能手机是 iPhone 7。
So what did I did 2 months ago when I decided I'm going to prepare for this lecture and I'm going to heal myself? What did I do? I did a very simple trick. I changed my display to black and white.
2个月之前，我换了一些我的那个
黑白 black and white.
换成了黑和白。
Yeah.
我把我的那个智能手机的屏幕的那个颜色换成了黑和白。
So 2 months ago, since 2 months, I changed all my smartphones. I have an iPod Touch, which I would also call a smartphone for now, for this 2 months period. I changed them to black and white. 1 month ago, I was listening to a Google conference where they were introducing their next Android version.
1个月之前呢，我听到了关于那个安卓系统的一些情况。
And I was surprised because Google announced that the next Android version will get a mode which automatically changes the phone to black and white every night, every day at nighttime.
但我觉得非常的惊讶，因为那个安卓的系统它可以自动的把那个手机的屏幕变成黑色和白色。
I'm already 4 minutes over time. Try it out yourself, and you will quickly learn how quickly you will overcome your addiction just by changing it to black and white.
我们现在大家可以试一下，怎么样把它换成黑和白色。
Healing, food, composition, and cooking. 4 minutes. I'm too late already. Let me quickly jump to food.
下一步我们要去讨论一下关于食物的事情。
Most people don't have access to good food.
大部分人对食物没有一个很好的一个经验吧。
Worldwide. Either they are too poor, or they are too much in a rush that they don't have time to cook healthy meal, or for any other reason.
就是人们没有更多的时间去做一顿好的饭，或者任何的理由，任何很多的原因，人们不能去做一个很好的一顿晚餐。
I think if I would have drawn a graph showing the ability to sort food, prepare food, and cook, I think the graph would have been continuously declining for every upcoming generation during the last 200 years. So we are dealing with a generation now which is more or less incapable to cook globally.
就是因为那个怎么说呢？就是我们这一代，我们200年前的那一代人，他们对于食物的一些，就是烧食物的一些那些时间会越来，就是重视程度会越来越少。
So what's the consequence if somebody or a whole generation can't cook?
Just go ahead. Okay.
So what's the consequence if a whole generation can't cook?
所以是什么样的巧合让所有的一些那个 generation 他们可以去烧这个东西？
Limited time, I can only mention 2. I think you can mention many on yourself. Any idea? Which one? What do you think is the biggest issue? Any idea? No. Okay. The biggest issue for me is that they don't learn to survive. They don't have the ability, people who don't cook, to survive when money is low.
我觉得最大的一个原因是很多的穷人他们没有一个能力去烧这个菜。
If you cannot cook, you will never be able your whole life to sustain, either you are young or you're old, you will never be able to sustain and live a healthy life if there is a crisis.
如果你们不知道怎么去烧这个东西，不管你是年轻的还是老年的，你们都不会得到一个 很健康的一个生活。
Which means in the worst situation of your life, you lost your job, your wife ran away, your parents said they don't finance your studies anymore, you're moving to a new city and finding a new job takes longer than you thought. Countless of moments in your life where you under stress, under pressure, and when this is the third part of my lecture, talking about resilience. When you want to be resilient, you need to be able to live a low-profile life with little money.
这句话总结的意思就是你会失去所有的东西，如果你没有很多钱的话。
So this is the first reason. I believe cooking is the key to live a healthy life, get all the power you need to get out of a crisis, and is the guarantee that you can eat healthy, good food when you have little money.
就是说烧一个好的菜，然后是对你的生活、对你的健康是一个最基本的一个保证。
There are countless of other things I could talk about. I could talk about the smell of food, the way what you learn when you prepare, when you cut your finger, you make mistakes. How do you deal with heat? How do you deal at the market? How do you negotiate? How do you figure out how long is a vegetable good for? How to properly prepare meat? How does meat taste if it's cut in small pieces or in a large chunk? And so on. So cooking is a process, a super complex process. Mastering cooking is a guarantee that you can master a complex, stressful situation where you have to guarantee to get a meal ready. You will do the same successful patterns for anything else in your life. Okay, we are running out of time. Part 3.
第三部分。
Lifetime. I choose to focus on lifetime. You can see when the slides are rotating, the first zoom goes to lifetime. Lifetime is a long period, 80 years, we could say.
就是我们的生命，总的来说，平均的生命我们大概有80年可以活。我们的生命是一个非常长的一个周期。
And nowadays, people believe they can't live the life of their parents' generation anymore.
就是我们现在生活的和我们父辈去生活的那个已经完全是不一样的一个东西。
Because they are different systems.
因为这个生活的系统已经和以前不一样了，完全的不一样。
The rules that worked for their parents just don't work anymore for their kids often.
对于父辈那一代生活的经验，对于我们来说已经是完全的没有用了。
So we had actually a couple of interesting lectures before today already, and everybody more or less came to the same conclusion. We don't know how the future will look like.
就是对于我们来说，我们对未来一无所知。
But we know a lot actually about the future.
但是我们对未来又挺知道的。
We know, for example, if you're in my age, we know we have only 20 years to make good money, or 30. We know we need the first 20 years to go to school and go to kindergarten. We know we are dying one day. We know many things of our life. But to be resilient, we need to know one more thing.
就是像我这个年纪的话，你们会知道我还有20年可以去赚钱，然后或者是你在20岁的时候，你知道你要去念书或者是一些怎么样。但是对于一个文明来说，你有一样东西是必须知道的。
We need to know how to survive if we are fully alone.
我们得知道，就是如果我们自己一个人的话，如何去生存。
Because society, companies, partners, jobs always want to keep us in an unchanged way, which is maybe fine for the job, maybe fine for our boss, but maybe not what we need if we know, okay, we want to get a certain achievement in 2 or 3 years, right? So if we don't have the freedom to improve ourselves, to continuously teach ourselves, to continuously be free to tell our boss, I quit. Today, we are not free.
就是如果我们没有自由的时间去支配自己的生活的话，我们不能说我们是自由的。
So we need strategies if we want to keep this freedom.
就是如果我们要继续保持我们的这个自由的话，我们必须得有一些自己的想法、自己的东西。
Every person has a different strategy, to be honest. There's no general golden rule, I will tell you.
就是每个人都有自己的一些不同的东西。诚实的来说，每个人都有一些自己不同的东西。
But if I look at my friends and those who are in TV, those who are pop stars, those who are successful businessmen. So if I only look at my successful friends, there's one thing they all share in common. They learned to live low profile. They can travel for 2 months and they feel relaxed because they have everything cooking on a very low flame. They have very low life expenses, nearly going to zero, very low dependencies for their banks. So they all share in common that they never signed any deal that would take away their freedom.
就是我所有成功的朋友，他们都有很自由的时间，然后很充裕的金钱去做他们自己喜欢想做的事情。
It's time for peroration. I talked about smartphone addiction. Smartphone addiction is something that can start very small. It can be just a tiny app, maybe just one app you're opening too often. And everybody is responsible for healing it themselves. There's just one funny fact. It's an official disease since this year, along with gaming.
就是现在来说，我刚才在说的是一个关于智能电话的一个事情。现在很多人，比如说打开智能电话之后，下载一个 APP， 他就可以做很多的一些他自己的事情。
Healing smartphone addiction with cooking. Why did I choose such a crazy title, with cooking?
为什么我们要浪费时间在那个就是烧饭上面呢？
Why did not I suggest sport or anything else our young people should do more?
为什么我们的年轻的人不能花一些时间去别的任何一些他们感兴趣喜欢的一些东西呢？
Because their time is limited, and I don't know if they are poor or rich. I don't know every child in China and in the world. The only thing I see is they all get slowly addicted to a smartphone, a technology that will be obsolete in 5 to 10 years. Nobody will have a smartphone anymore. And they are filling their brain with colorful candy.
就是现在的年轻人他们没有时间，因为他们所有的精力都去玩手机去了，所以他们没有一些自己的一些东西。
They all have their piano lessons already. They have their sports, they have their school. I cannot take away 1 minute of those activities, right?
对，他们现在比如说要去上钢琴课，要去上这个课，要去上那个课，他们没有一些就是多余的一些时间了。
So I said, okay, I need to find a great solution, a good solution that works in every household.
所以我现在觉得我要去找一个比较好的办法去，就是等于说去帮助他们。
That's why I came up with cooking, because you as kids, you can learn something, and you as parents, you can very easily make a rule and say, during cooking, during mealtime, there's no smartphone, and you have already cut off 1 hour per day, for example.
就是，所以我一直要说关于这个烧菜做饭的事情，因为就是这样的话，可以跟父母啊，可以一起就是把手机摔开，就可以去烧菜啊，去享受一些家庭生活。
And the third part, resilience in lifetime. I think the best advice I can give is to start early with diversification, to begin early to explore the world, not to wait too long. Don't wait too long before you prepare for your dream job. Start to go online today. Start to look all these self-educated videos. We see a beautiful video here where a girl was teaching herself dubstep dancing with the internet. I watch in a typical week 10 to 20 weeks lectures just online. So you have to start early and keep on learning for the rest of your life, and your resilience strategy is all set.
所以就是我给大家的建议就是从现在就开始，然后开始学，然后不停的就开始就是 keep go， 就是一直下去。
Thank you very much for your translation. This was 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very